Yo, what's up guys, it's XRAYZ and welcome to the Call of Duty Zombie storyline. This is going to be part 14. We're going to be talking about Gorod Krovi. Now for you guys that missed the last few episodes, I would highly recommend you guys go back, check out the entire playlist. I will have it linked in the description below. The zombie storyline is very intricate, long, and detailed, and there's a lot going on. So if you're starting off on this episode, then chances are you don't know the full storyline up until this point. So make sure you check out the videos in the playlist. Also, for you guys that are watching this early, if you're a patron of mine, thank you so much for the support. You guys help make this possible. If you guys want to check out Patreon, I will have it linked in the description below, so definitely check it out. But let's go ahead and jump into the storyline. Last time we talked about Zetsubo no Shima, we ended up going to a very hidden island. Over there, we ended up killing old Takiao, or Takiao 1.0. He actually ended up doing it honorably, which was really awesome. And now this time, we're headed to Russia, to Stalingrad, to try to find Nikolai 1.0 and deal with him, while also learning more about the storyline. So let's go ahead and jump into it. If you guys enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to drop a like and a favorite. It does help out so much. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes. I know we can do it, so if you're watching this, slap that like button, pack a punch that like button. Let's try to get to 1,000. If we do reach 1,000, the next week I'll do the Behind the Horror episode, which I know you guys really love. So next week will be Behind the Horror if you guys get to 1,000 likes on this video. Also, if you guys are new, if you want to see more content like this, obviously make sure to subscribe. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the story. Now, following the demise of Takiao 1.0 at the Division 9 facility, our crew ends up traveling to a war-torn Stalingrad during a massive battle between several Group 935 controlled dragons and Russian giant robots in search for the original Nikolai. Now, eventually the crew is actually teleported through a portal in the sky, and they end up free falling down into the city. Before they're about to die, even though they're all freaking out, this is something they did not expect at all, they end up seeing another soldier also free falling with them, who we end up finding out is Peter McCain, who was also a giant part of the storyline. We knew about him through ciphers, also on Zetsubo no Shima, and we found out that this guy actually ended up falling through this portal with us for some odd reason. Now, as they're free falling again with Peter McCain, they end up seeing that he has a parachute, and they're actually able to activate the parachute, which slows them down just enough to make a safe landing. However, while all of this is going on, Nikolai notices that a massive dragon is flying towards a single giant mech. The mech is piloted by none other than the original Nikolai 1.0, who's killing zombies and trying to kill the dragon while drinking vodka and listening to Ace of Spades on his radio. Now at this point, Nikolai 1.0 ends up seeing that there's this other crew showing up on the battlefield, and he then proceeds to immediately start trying to kill them. I think something inside of Nikolai 1.0 made him realize that Nikolai 2.0 was there, and it just kind of triggered something in him, and he ended up trying to kill them. Now, luckily for the crew, they're actually able to escape, because the dragon that is in the original cutscene ends up basically carrying Nikolai 1.0 and slamming him into a building, essentially preventing him from being able to move and damaging his power core. At this point, Nikolai 1.0 is wondering who these characters are, who this crew is, and he ends up questioning them and also asking them for help. At this point, the crew ends up trying to survive not only the elements of zombies and dragons and robots, but also making their way to Sophia, who ends up being the one who can help them continue on their journey. Now, one really interesting thing is that we learn that Sophia, who in previous timelines and before in the storyline was an assistant to Dr. Maxis, an actual human being, but at this location at this point in time, Sophia, for one reason or another, is actually just an artificial intelligence. Once they activate her, they end up needing to complete several challenges, but they can only get to those challenges if they're able to locate the password, which is stuck within a system of air valves around the map. Once they're able to locate this password, they're able to insert it into Sophia, input the password, which ends up being Kronos, and being able to start these challenges that Sophia has for them. The crew ends up trying to complete this Ascension protocol, and some of the steps involve characters that we've already come to know. The crew finds Gersh, who recognizes them but knows that they're not the same version that freed him before on Ascension. Now at this point, Richtofen ends up telling Gersh that he needs to make his way over to Dragon Command to talk to Sophia so that they're able to help him. Now at this point, the crew thinks that they're helping out Gersh, but really they're actually leading him to his demise, as Sophia quite unemotionally ends up not only picking him apart for analysis, but it's believed that he died. As they're performing these tasks, they end up getting in contact with a voice in their head who is telling them that they're there because of their misdeeds. This voice ends up asking them to fix the universe, as it's partially their fault that it's fractured. After completing the Ascension protocol, Sophia is able to not only give the crew a power core which Nikolai 1.0 needs to start up his mech suit, but she also ends up breaking free of her machine and is believed to be trying to find Maxis. The crew ends up sending the power core to Nikolai using one of their baby dragons, and then proceed to take a sewer system that was located underneath Sophia to make their way to the battlefield once more. Once they reach the battlefield, they are able to free Nikolai from the rubble and essentially make a truce, trying to work together to defeat the giant dragon that has been bothering us this whole time as we're trying to complete our tasks. However, after Nikolai and the crew end up defeating the dragon, Nikolai is then asked to surrender, but he does not take it so lightly. He ends up turning on them and attempting to kill them once again. Luckily, the crew is able to defeat Nikolai 1.0, who is then approached by his Origins version of Nikolai with a gun pointed at him. Nikolai 2.0 apologizes to him and wishes that there was another way, and tells him that in his heart he shares the same pain that the original Nikolai felt. It is at this point that we find out that Nikolai's first wife, the one that he claims to have killed, was actually not killed by his hand. Nikolai's wife actually died during an air raid, and the shock of losing his wife caused him to become an alcoholic and essentially drink his life away. Angered by this revelation, Nikolai 1.0 screams at young Nikolai, "Some things are forgotten for a reason." He then attempts to shoot young Nikolai with his handgun, but luckily, younger Nikolai has a bulletproof vest that protects him. Out of self-defense and in a moment of shock, younger Nikolai ends up killing Nikolai 1.0 with his shotgun. Richtofen then collects his soul, while Takeao comforts Nikolai and Dempsey watches the procedure. With all 4 souls collected, Richtofen sends the original Nikolai, Takeao, and Dempsey towards the sky with a beacon from the summoning key, claiming that the crew will soon see Maxis. Later, the voice contacts Nikolai, Tank Dempsey, and Takeao and lets them know that Richtofen can't hear him. He congratulates them on completing their tasks and saying that they will soon make their way to the house. He also says before Richtofen caught up with them that he had spent years looking for the right versions of them to close off the dimensions, suggesting that the original timeline version of the characters were plausible for the universe disorder and fate of their other incarnations in other realms besides the house, who have all been erased by this point. He also tells them how Richtofen has been in the house for ages and not to let him know or trust him. Finally, the voice introduces himself as Dr. Monty. So there is the entire storyline for Gorod Krovi. They made their way there, they're trying to complete these tasks, they need to kill Nikolai 1.0. We learned so much in between, and now we are at the conclusion. We need to make our way back to the house, but we also have this weird on and off. Can we trust Dr. Monty or should we trust Richtofen? Which one of the two is really telling the truth? Anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Call of Duty Zombie storyline. Once again, if you enjoyed it, drop a like, drop a favorite. It does help out, it is appreciated. And if you are new, if you want to see even more content like this in the future, obviously make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single upload. Once again, let's try to get to 1,000 likes. It'd be awesome if we could do it. If we do, next Saturday we'll have an episode of Behind the Horror for Gorod Krovi. Once again, a huge shout out to my patrons for being the ones to support this series. You're watching this early, so thank you so much for that. And also check out my Twitter, guys. Go ahead and follow me over there for more updates, news, and more. And if you want to, feel free to check out my gaming channel and my second channel, both linked in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.